Hello, my suns and moons. Welcome to my channel where we connect through stories. The story I choose for today has a special place in my heart. It brings back fond memories of my childhood, but also warms and heals my adult heart. It's the story of the Velveteen rabbits, written by Margery Williams. I'm only reading an abridged version of the story today, but I hope it will encourage you to read the original book. Now let's begin. The Velveteen Rabbits, or How Toys Become Real. There once was a Velveteen rabbit, and in the beginning he was splendid. He was fat and punchy, as a rabbit should be. His coat was spotted brown and white. He had real thread whiskers, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. On Christmas morning, he was placed on top of the boy's stocking. There were other things in the stocking, but the rabbit was quite the best of all. For at least 2 hours, the boy loved him. But then, aunts and uncles came to dinner with many more presents. And in the excitement of looking at all the new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten. For a long time, he lived in the toy cupboard or on the nursery floor, and no one thought very much about him. He was naturally shy, and being only made of velveteen, some of the more expensive toys ignored him. The only person who was kind to him at all was the Skin Horse. The Skin Horse had lived longer in the nursery than any of the others. He was old and wise, and he knew all about nursery magic. One day, the rabbit asked him, "What is real? Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the Skin Horse. "It's a thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you. Then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the Skin Horse. "When you are real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once or bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the Skin Horse. "You become. It takes a long time." "I suppose you are real?" asked the rabbit. But the Skin Horse only smiled. "The boy's uncle made me real. That was a great many years ago. But once you are real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts for always." The rabbit sighed. He thought it would be a long time before this magic called real happened to him. There was a person called Nana who took care of the nursery. One evening, when the boy was going to bed, he couldn't find the china dog that always slept with him. Nana was in a hurry, and it was too much trouble to hunt for a china dog at bedtime, so she simply looked around her, and seeing the toy cupboard door stood open. "Here," she said, "take your old bunny. He'll do to sleep with you." And she dragged the rabbit out by one ear and put him into the boy's arms. That night, and for many nights after, the Velveteen rabbit slept in the boy's bed. At first, he found it very uncomfortable, for the boy hugged him very tight, and sometimes he rolled over on him. The rabbit could scarcely breathe. But very soon, he grew to like it, for the boy used to talk to him and made nice tunnels for him under the bedclothes. They played games together in whispers, and when the boy dropped off to sleep, the rabbit would snuggle down close to his chin and dream, with the boy's hands wrapped around him all night long. So time went on, and the rabbit was very, very happy. One day, when they were playing in the garden, the boy was called away for tea, and the rabbit was left out on the lawn long after dusk. And that night, Nana had to come and look for him with a candle, because the boy couldn't go to sleep without the rabbit. "You must have your old bunny," Nana said. "He's just a toy." The boy sat up in bed and stretched out his hands. "Give me my bunny. You mustn't say that. He isn't a toy. He is real." When the little rabbit heard that, he was happy. He knew what Skinheart had said was true at last. The nursery magic happened to him. He was no longer a toy. He was real. The boy said so. But then one day, the boy was ill. His body was so hot that it burned the rabbit when he held him close. Strange people came and went in the nursery. The little Velveteen rabbit lay there, hidden under the bedcloth. He never stirred, for he was afraid that if they found him, someone might take him away. But he knew the boy needed him. It was a long, weary time because the boy was too ill to play. But the rabbit kept waiting patiently and looked forward to the time when the boy should be well again. And they would go out in the garden among the flowers and butterflies and play splendid games together. And eventually, the boy got better. He was able to sit up in bed and look at picture books. Soon afterwards, the boy was going to the seaside. And while he was away, the room was to be disinfected, and all the books and toys that the boy had played with in bed must be burned. Nana found the rabbit under the bedcloth when she was cleaning the room. "How about this old bunny?" she asked the doctor. "That?" said the doctor. "It's a mass of scarlet fever germs. Burn it at once. Get him a new one. He mustn't have it anymore." So Velveteen Rabbit was thrown into a sack, along with the boy's bed sheets and old clothes and a lot of junk. The sack was carried to the backyard. The gardener was told to burn the whole thing. But the gardener was too busy with picking the beans and peas before nightfall. so he left the sack behind. "I will take care of it tomorrow," he said. The sack was not tied at the top, and Velveteen Rabbit fell out. Alone in the night, he thought of those long hours playing in the sun with the boy, and the quiet evenings in the wood. He thought of Skin Horse, so wise and gentle, and all that he had told him. And a tear, a real tear, trickled down his nose and fell to the ground. And then a strange thing happened. Where the tear had fallen, a beautiful flower grew out of the ground. Then the bud opened, and out of there stepped a fairy. She came close to the rabbit, kissed him on his nose, and asked, "Little rabbit, don't you know who I am? I am the nursery magic fairy. I take care of all the playthings that the children have loved. When they are old and worn out, and the children don't need them anymore, then I come and take them with me and turn them into real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the rabbit. "You were real to the boy because he loved you. Now you shall be real to everyone." And she held the little rabbit close in her arms and flew with him into the wood. It was light now, for the moon had risen. All the forest was beautiful. The fairy kissed the little rabbit again and put him down on the grass. "Run and play, little rabbit," she said. Little Rabbit suddenly found that he had hind legs, brown, soft, and shiny fur. His ears twitched by themselves, and his whiskers were so long that they brushed the grass. He gave one leap. He jumped sideways and whirled round as the others did. He was a real rabbit at last, and at home with other rabbits. Time went by. One day in spring, the boy went out to play in the wood behind his house. And while he was playing, two rabbits crept out and looked at him. One of them was brown all over, but the other one had strange markings under his fur, as though long ago he had been spotted, and the spots still show through. And about his little soft nose and his round black eyes, there was something familiar. And the boy thought to himself, "Why, he looks just like my old bunny that was lost when I had scarlet fever." But he never knew that it really was his own bunny, come back to look at the child who had first helped him to be real. The Velveteen Rabbit was first published in 1922, and by the end of this year, 2022, the story has been a beloved classic for readers of all ages for an entire century. And I have no doubt it will live on to be loved by both children and adults. Thank you so much for listening, and Happy New Year.